towards this side war.
Well, despite Gaddafi's protestations, we are still getting reports that deadly force is being used against protesters across Libya. Security forces loyal to the regime are said to be lashing out in an attempt to stop the dissent, and witnesses have told Al Jazeera that they've seen people being burned alive by mercenaries who've been apparently prepared to go to great lengths to keep them quiet. However, other reports suggest that many in the army are wavering, several officers refusing to attack Libyan citizens. Earlier, Qasem Najjar, a former Libyan Air Force colonel, told us that it's time for world leaders to take action.
Unfortunately, Libya is going through a very difficult black period of its history. What's happening now cannot be accepted by anyone or imagined by anyone on the face of the earth. However, it's not unusual for this to happen in Libya, because in the 90s, 1,200 prisoners, unarmed prisoners, were killed, were massacred in Libya, and no one moved anywhere in the world to talk about them. Nobody anywhere in the world condemned the Libyan regime there and then about the massacres of 1,200 prisoners there and then. And this time, you gave him the green light to go ahead and continue killing his people. The whole world sort of turned a blind eye on the excesses. And now we wonder, why this silence, this utter silence by everybody else in the world?
Now, Libya has a very tribal structure which has played a crucial role in the country's history and has been utilized by Muammar Gaddafi in order to keep power. Dorsa Jabari takes a look now at the culture of tribal activity in Libya.
It's one of the most tribal nations in the Arab world, a country where clans and family alliances shape the political landscape. The four main tribes include the Warfalla, Libya's largest and most powerful tribe, said to have about 1 million people. It's declared it no longer supports Gaddafi. The Maghariha is the second largest tribe, and the tribe of Lockerbie bomber Abdel Basit Ali al-Megrahi. The Al-Zintan tribe, which is close to the Warfalla tribe, has its base in the southern town of Zintan. And finally, the Qaddafi, which is Gaddafi's tribe, and it controls the air force.
It is quite significant then to know that tribes such as Warfalla and other tribes actually in the country, when they stand up and say, we don't support this regime, it doesn't mean that they supported him in the past. It just means we are going to stand against you, and we're going to stand along the people on the street. We're going to stand along the Libyan people instead.
While Gaddafi tried to eliminate the tribal system when he came to power, it remains entrenched. Gaddafi has relied on simmering tribal rivalries to tighten his grip on power. This is especially the case within the military, where all major tribes are represented. Losing these loyalties could ultimately lead to losing his grip on power. Dorsa Jabari, Al Jazeera.
Well, with me is Hussam Al-Ghariani from the Libyan Information Center here in Doha. The tribal structure of Libya is something that Gaddafi seems to have manipulated to his own end.
He's trying to manipulate it, and he's trying to emphasize that the whole system is based purely on tribes and the whole country is so fragile. Yet, again, in contradiction to the man, he is a Gaddafi, and Gaddafi's stronghold is in Sirte. His son, a few days ago, came out on TV and he said, Al-Baida is my town. He actually made that comment because his mother is from that town, which is basically a demographic reflection of all Libyan society. We're from the west of Libya, yet we live in the east of Libya. Libya is our country. There is no tribal divisions. We are all intertwined, and this is a very, very important point that we must emphasize. But he's trying to play the card and use it as a point of division. But again, desperation results in anything.
Well, I mean, as we've heard, some of the tribes have actually turned around and said, actually, we don't support you any longer. So if they're not particularly strong in that, is it relevant then? Should we not care if the Warfalla don't want to support him any longer?
Well, yes, absolutely, because again, it's sending him a signal. Henceforth, his whole staged appearance on TV in his bombed-out so-called accommodation is a plea. He's trying to get some sort of sympathy from his grassroots supporters. But after 42 years, I think everybody's woken up and they can smell the coffee, and so should he. But unfortunately, he talks about these poor.
Is it only him, though? I mean, there's 40 years in power. He's built up a structure of people who have done very well out of the system. There's an entrenched hierarchy of people who stand to lose a great deal if Gaddafi goes down.
I agree, and they stand to lose a great more if they don't step away. They have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to move away from the regime and try to do one thing right in their lives and do the right thing. Move away from this man, because his days are numbered, and so are theirs. So it's important for them to realize that they can try and at least salvage something from the wrong that they've done for the last 40-odd years. 42 years is a lifetime for most people.
Do you think they'll do that? I mean, most people tend to react to their monetary interests rather than doing the right thing, don't they?
Well, money's no good if it's game over, if it's the end for you. You're not really going to be able to cash your money where they're going to end up. It's happened before. History will repeat itself. Saddam Hussein had an opportunity to get out, and he didn't. And look at the end for him. So I suspect if he doesn't step down, which he probably won't, but the people around him should. And this is what is important here tonight.
If Gaddafi continues what we appear to have seen already, and that is attacking his own people, how long do you think those people will stay out on the streets?
Well, the people on the streets know there is no going back, because as one person put it, we either die on the streets or we will die in our homes. And if I had the choice, I know where I would be, and definitely won't be in the home.
All right, Hussam El-Gabriani, thanks for talking to us.
Thank you.
Now, just a short while ago, the US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton joined the growing number of voices condemning the violence in Libya.
The United States continues to watch the situation in Libya with alarm. Our thoughts and prayers are with those whose lives have been lost and their loved ones, and we join the international community in strongly condemning the violence, as we've received reports of hundreds killed and many more injured. This bloodshed is completely unacceptable. It is the responsibility of the government of Libya to respect the universal rights of their own people, including their right to free expression and assembly.
Well, what you're seeing here are pictures that Libyan state TV has been running for a couple of hours ever since Gaddafi made his statement. They purport to show pro-Gaddafi supporters somewhere in Libya. We're not entirely sure where or when these pictures were shot, but they've been going on for the past couple of hours. And on your right now, there's some contrasting shots. People throwing shoes at a projection of Gaddafi as he was making that speech. Just one of the little things that we have managed to get out of the country, despite the strong restrictions that have been placed on media operations in there. Plenty of people willing to upload video to YouTube and inform us about that stuff. Let's get to Patty Culhane in Washington, D.C. regarding that Hillary Clinton comment.